I think that's right among the people, but, you know, what they've done in Arabia, I know quite a lot about this because of people that I...
No, sure, their leaders are very evil.
Yeah, people I know. I mean, Arabia has been taken over by... interlopers. You know, people talk about sheikhs. Oh, he's royal. It's a sheikh. Well, sheikh just meant in the tribal situation in Arabia. It just meant a wise man, and they morphed it into being royalty, and they created this spurious, off-the-peg, manufactured royal families who now act as tyrannies in all these countries.
No, but I mean, that's true. I mean, that's what the whole Lawrence of Arabia fable is about Saudi Arabia. It's actually a true story. They went out and just found warlords, gave them weapons, and set them up.
Yeah, and so when you've got a situation like that, Alex, where you've got these royal fiefdoms in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and all these other places, they are dictators to their people, but they themselves, this is the point, answer then to the cabal that is run out of places like Tel Aviv and Washington and London. And so this situation where you have these royal tyranny dynasties means that you only have to control a few people before you can control the whole nation of Saudi Arabia or Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain, Kuwait, all of it.
And then they use a twisted form of Islam to suppress and control their populations.
Oh, you know, Alex, back in the late 70s, I spent 8 weeks in Saudi Arabia. I loved the people. They were so kind. I tell you what, the system, the royal family, it is grotesque. It is beyond tyranny. It is beyond imagination, where people were still having their arms chopped off for stealing and all the rest of it. It's horrible. And that extreme, incredible, grotesque form of Islam was created by the House of Saud, which are interlopers, just come along and claim they're royal and all the rest of it. Not that should matter anyway, to suppress the people. And Saudi Arabia, I've been saying this for like 15, 20 years, it's one of many 51st states of the United States. That's why these patsy people involved in 9/11, so many came out of Saudi Arabia. This is why bin Laden came out of Saudi Arabia and got put in Afghanistan to front up the Mujahideen.
Well, the bin Ladens,
and all the rest of it.
The bin Ladens build most U.S. military bases in the Middle East, and I talked to Springman, the head of the U.S. Embassy. They were ordered to let those hijackers in. They were told they were U.S. government agents.
Exactly, and Saudi Arabia is not on the side of the Arab world. I mean, it's no accident that you have got, my goodness, what you've got in Israel is daily genocide against the Palestinian people. It is so blatant, it's so in your face, and nothing ever happens. You will have sanctions against Iran, we'll have Security Council resolutions against Iran and these places. Nothing is done to give consequences to Israel for the genocide against the Palestinians. But then you say, well, where the heck are all these oil-rich, massively wealthy, apparently on the surface powerful Arab leaders in Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and all the rest of it? Where are they? It's Western people that are going in flotillas to challenge the blockade of Gaza, and then you read in the mainstream newspaper that Saudi Arabia have opened its northern...
Stay there. We're going to talk more about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, arguably one of the most corrupt nations on earth. Israel's got a lot of organ trafficking and slave trafficking, and a lot of other countries do as well. But in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia are the big traffickers in. And notice you never hear our media criticizing them. It's all Iran, because Iran is not controlled by the New World Order. It's got to be taken down. I'm not saying Iran is good. I'm just simply stating it's not part of the global takeover. David, finish your points on that point.
The thing is, if Saudi Arabia was a target country, there'd be banner headlines all the time and exposure documentaries all the time about the grotesque way that country's controlled and the way they treat the people. But because it's part of the control system, of course, everyone turns a blind eye. It's the same with Israel, you see. Because that's part of the control system, it's a fiefdom of the House of Rothschild. I mean, people, they just let them get away, literally, with mass murder. And, and then you've got Iran, and because it's a target country, of course, that's where all the propaganda goes into. It's all mind control and mind manipulation and perception manipulation. But, I've done enormous amounts of research over the years. It continues to this day about the abuse and trafficking and stealing of children by this system. There's something about the energy of children that they absolutely want. And if you go back even into the ancient world, when they talked about sacrificing young virgins, etc., to the gods, that was code for children. They've been doing it all along, and now they're doing it on a massive scale. And so many of the children that are trafficked end up in Saudi Arabia and these Arab states. In the United Arab Emirates, of course, a few years ago, there was this massive scandal when they had this enormous numbers of young boys who were camel jockeys in their camel racing system, and they were more than basically, they were held in captivity and slavery. It's extraordinary, and that's what these Arab so-called royal fiefdoms do. They're tyrannies, they're dictatorships, and we need a revolution. We need a people's revolution in these countries more than, or as much as, if not more than anywhere else, because the suppression of the people in these countries, I've experienced it, is just extraordinary.
Well, it is, and if you read the Bible in Leviticus, but even mainline history, give not your children to the fires of Molech, they would go throw babies in to the fires.
Which, of course, takes us to bohemian-grove and all the other stuff, absolutely.
And all of this is coming out now. We talk about bohemian-grove 15 years ago and get laughed at. Now it comes out that, okay, many of your Republican leaders are with gay porn stars. What's the big deal? I mean, it just shows how compromised they are. And then you got Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama. The good news is that they tried to pump him up as a messianic savior, but that sure fell hard.
Well, that's one of the most encouraging things of all. I mean, given where he was with the hype and hysteria when he was elected, his honeymoon period has been dramatically short, given how high he was built up before. That is also an expression, in many ways, of this awakening, where people start to see through things they couldn't see through before. This is making it harder and harder for them to sell the agenda to people, as more and more people see what the agenda is. They see, that's leading to that, problem, reaction, solution. Yes, I see why they've done that, because they want to bring this in. This is changing the game. It's changing the game. And, it is coming down. But in the next few years, it won't seem like that, but it's coming down.
David Icke, look forward to talking to you in October, david-icke.com. The awakening is on, but the enemy is going to strike back, and it is going to be darkest before the dawn. We look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Cheers, mate.
Take care. Always informative, a very well-spoken gentleman, and I agree with his insights on the geopolitical manifestations we face. The websites are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Great job making Barry Soetoro the #1 search term yesterday.